Oh shit, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another installment of WarNation After Dark. And hey guys, we got some special guests in the house. We got JD Mods and we got Stevie Marquez. So
we've got friends.
Yeah, we brought friends. So first off, I want to thank you guys for coming up with us. It's an honor to have both of you here. And for some odd reason, if you guys don't know who JD Mods or Steve Marquez is, in my opinion, I think JD Mods is one of the best builders out there, mod builders. You guys want a custom mod? Hit up JD Mods. Mind blowing. And then you guys want some crazy flavored juice? Go hit up Stevie's Collective on Go check them out. His menu is endless. Absolutely endless.
Yeah, that's one thing that blew me away when I got in Stevie's group was just how vast the menu is.
Right.
And I've gotten 20 bottles in total so far from him. I did a bunch of 60 mils my first order. Everything was phenomenal. Very, what you got was what you tasted. And my second order was all 120 mils because I was so blown away and got all new flavors except for one Stegosaurus, which is a pixie stick flavor, which is my fat kid crack. But yeah, everything's been top notch. Very, very good quality.
Yeah.
Sweet. When I got introduced to Steve, it was like, go over and take a look at what he got. And I was like scrolling.
Yeah, never ending.
I just called Steve. I'm like, Steve, you know what? Send me your top flavors, and we'll go from there. There's so much. I mean, if you can't find what you want to vape on there, honestly, I don't think it exists.
Yep.
And the good thing about him, I called him up. I'm like, hey, I really like this monolith, but I want some pineapple on it. He made me a monolith with pineapple. I want raspberry.
Nice.
A little bit more raspberry. I like to really taste it. I like sweet juice. I really do. He's like, oh, yeah, we'll put extra raspberry in there. Blown away. Customer service, quality of product. Now, like I said, I've stopped ordering 120s. I just get angry, and I just order 1,000 mils. I'm like,
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't.
Big boys.
I can't run out. It's impossible. It just makes me angry. Well, 120s, they don't do the trick anymore.
Yeah.
No, it goes fast.
Yeah.
So typically we start the show off by kind of talking, just introduction real quick, who you are, what you do, and then what you're puffing on. So Joe, Stevie, if one of you guys want to go ahead and go first and just, give yourselves a quick rundown of who you are and what you're getting into tonight.
Go ahead, Joe.
Oh, you want me to go? Well, tonight, DNA 250, actually the first one I ever built. It's about 6 years old. Love this mod beyond belief. Dead rabbit on top, and I have the monolith with the extra raspberry flavor. So, as Spike said, I build mods. I've been doing it for 8 years now. We do everything from custom 3D print to stabilized wood to color wrapped metal. I mean, I don't think there's anything you can't, challenge that I can't make. But, it's been a great journey. Good people, love vaping, for it. And that's pretty much my story. Very simple.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Nice.
So I got Joe's beautiful 3D printed DNA 100. I got that on there. In there, I'm vaping my personal favorite, and I know Joe actually enjoys this as well. But I got batshit crazy in there.
Oh, nice.
This is one of my first recipes that I came up with about 4 years ago. It was one of my first recipes that I was proud of. And still to this day, no matter what I taste, I always go back to this one. So this is my ADV. I always have a few 100 milliliters ready to go in case I need to. I'm actually ran out on this one right now on this 120 mil, so I got to go grab some of my reserve. But that's what I'm vaping on right now. Other than that, I've been DIYing for a few years. My group's been around for it'll be a year in January. what I did before my group started was I did offer and try to get feedback from other individuals in other Discord groups and whatnot. And they kind of helped develop. There's a person in the chat, Gary. Gary Baggio has been a huge influence in my growth, and one of the first people that gave me the opportunity. And I say gave me because I feel everybody that tries my juice gives me the opportunity to show what I have to offer, and I'm proud of that.
Heck yeah.
So he gave me the opportunity to show him what I was mixing, gave me some feedback, and ever since then, I mean, we've grown. So happy about the way the group has grown. Thankful for individuals. I mean, I ran into Joe and individuals like that, individuals like this. I like to keep my circle strong, and that's ultimately how I've been growing. So I appreciate everyone.
That's awesome.
And I'll add on to that. I mean, when I found Steve, I was like, my group's got to know about this stuff. There is no doubt in my mind. People have to know. Bringing them into my group, doing some giveaways, introducing people to juice. I got some builders I even bought juice for them, had it shipped to them because they got a pretty good voice in the industry. Because, I mean, I know when I was starting out, it was impossible to get anybody to lend you a hand. Impossible. And, I think we wouldn't be in the trouble we are today if, we all stuck together as vapors or with one common, mission.
Yeah.
To get people off cigarettes. And I was like, there's no way in hell this man should not be known who he is. It's a phenomenal product. The best I've seen probably in the last 4 or 5 years, to be honest. I mean, there's nowhere to go for Steve but up. There, no doubt in my mind. No doubt.
It means a lot. Thanks, Joe.
No, I'm not. If you know me for a while, I shoot straight.
Yeah.
I don't have any filter, and I'll tell it the way it is. I don't care what people think, honestly. But good product, good service, nothing to complain about.
Much love. I appreciate it, bro.
Man, you're welcome, man.
All right, Mr. Spike, what are you getting into tonight?
All right. Well, for anyone that doesn't know who I am, I'm Spike. I'm one of the captains for WarNation. What have I got? Got the Mix Match Dreamer stacked with the Ardent. Got some Bradleys in there. I got a friend of mine mixed me up some New York cheesecake. That stuff's really good. It's nice and steep too. Custom heavy hitter, Nightmare 28. I got some Alien Stags in there. And then I got some house brew from my local vape shop. It's just a straight grape through and through. And then always got the Lycan on the go. Elite 3.2. I got some Spike Specials in there, Series Interlocks. And then I got some lemon pound cake from Jay's Alchemy in that. And yeah, that's all I got going on right now. Yeah.
Well, I am North Carolina Alex. We had to make it simple and have 2 Alexes that make coils. Tonight, I've got a little assortment. I've got Pandemic 28 on top of the Atom with some quad core Stags 0.07. And I've got some of Stevie's Steppenwolf. It's his custard flavor, amazing custard. And as you can see, it's about empty. So if it gets empty before the show, I'm going to whip up a fresh flavor of his. I've got about 7 more bottles down below. And then I've got one of my favorite new Boros from C4 Mods, the Operator. And inside that, I've got the Unknown RBA from Ross Mia. And in this, I've got a Blueberry Glazed Donut. And then I've got some Sad Boy Happy End Blue in one of my other C4 Boro devices. And I am currently making some beefy aliens for Mr. Joe and his love of higher ohm NLPWM boxes. So he's got some regular Bradleys at a 2.7, and then I made him some 3.5 millimeter 8 wrap Bradleys, extra wrap, a little bit bigger inner diameter. And yeah, so I'm making him some stuff, and I might rewick one of my RBAs while we're here. But yeah, that's what I'm getting into.
Nice.
Very nice. Well, mine's going to be short and sweet.
Hey, sometimes
I'm
that's
Alex
good.
G. I'm also the Alex down here in Texas. And I am just, this is literally the only mod that I have wicked and going right now. And I wish I had my other mods, but I don't. But it's just a little lipo from Nazy that I got in trade a while back. I've been kind of just beating the hell out of it. It's kept up so far. The little Valk 25. And I am jamming on some, I don't know where my other bottle is, but pretty much some Country Clouds, blueberry cornbread pudding.
Nice.
Nothing fancy.
Right.
And I am going to be doing an assortment of coils tonight. Stags, SSFCs, and yeah, short and sweet.
Nice. So everybody's out there watching. What are you guys all vaping on? So while I'm waiting for those answers to come in, I just wanted to give some shout outs to everyone in chat. So I'm going to scroll up to the top. So first off, we had Juan. What is going on?
What's going on,
What's up, Juan?
That's over on the YouTube. My YouTube. We got Go Fish Office. We got Like Father, Like Son. We got. I'm just going to call you Gary. I'm going to butcher your last name. We got Laura Lee. We got Toby over on YouTube and Facebook. What's going on? We got. I already said Laura, what's up? Aiden, what is going on? We got Juan over on Facebook as well. What's up, Mariah? Did I miss anybody?
I got someone rocking a Voltro.
Oh, Johnny. Johnny's in there too. What's up, brother? Country Comfort, what's up, bro? Thank you for coming by. Tennessee Sam, what is up, brother?
What's up, Sam?
What's up? Toby's got the GAR 21 with the Dead Rabbit RDA V2.
Nice.
0.32 ohm build, old school WarNation Aliens.
Yeah, baby.
North Texas props. Let's go. Johnny's got the Voltrove going on. Sam's vaping on some New York cheesecake.
Ooh, tasty.
Yeah, Trey's got the rugged 21700 Mech Boro.
Yo, that Mech Boro that Trey has, that thing is crazy looking.
Is that like black and gold?
Yeah, I think it's black and brass.
Yeah, that thing's
he's shown that thing off a couple times, and that thing is nasty looking.
Yeah, he's got some
really cool.
Yeah, he's got some Captain Crunch from Jay's Alchemy. Let's go. What's up, Jason? Jason's got the Wife 3.0. He doesn't vape.
So I'm kind of curious. I'll ask Joe a question because curiosity killed the cat. What got you into building mods? Like, what was your initial driving force to get into it? And then second question from that, what made you go into making mods and trying to sell them? Because I'm guessing it was maybe like, oh, I want to make something for myself. But then what pushed you to switch that and go into making them for, us to enjoy?
Yeah, about 8 years ago, I pretty much put the cigarettes down. It was one day.
Awesome.
Didn't smoke anymore. Got
awesome.
I think at that time I had a penny mech mod that I had bought from Fast Tech out of all places. And started enjoying that quite a bit. Then I got introduced to the Vamo V5 as a regulated, like 35 watt, tube style mod, and really enjoyed that. And then, one guy came to me and says, "It looks like you're vaping on a dildo," because and everybody knows this cat that I hate tube mods. I have a ton of them, but I do not vape a tube mod. It put that stigma in my mind forever. So I started looking around for box mods. I started seeing people that were building like Raptors and the T20s back in the day, and it was just a rat's nest inside a box. So I was at work one day. Actually, I have an engineering degree. My background is engineering, electrical engineering. And I was
cool.
telling my coworker, I said, these things are a big mess. They're just a rat's nest in a box. He says, well, if you think you can make a better one, why don't you do it? I said, well, we live in a wireless world. We have PCB boards, and we can make a better, more elegant, less cluttered mod. And I started developing a PCB board like 7 years ago. Made my own. That's why you're asking. I made my own for myself. I still own that mod.
Right. Oh, awesome.
And I introduced it to Facebook. I made a group. It was called, at that time, it just had my name on it, and started posting in different vape groups. And people are like, oh my God, what is that? And I said, oh, it's a vape mod. And I'd show it working, vaping on it. Used the Hammond box, which, was the ugliest box in the world, but that's all we had back in the day. And people like, if you made one for me, I'd be interested to buy one.
Nice.
And that's kind of where, the company spawned off. I met up with this guy, Bruce Davis. He actually did a lot of sales, but not vape-related sales, out of Ohio. And him and I teamed up, and we formed Ronin Box Mod.
Okay.
And we started developing more boards. I mean, we put out a lot of unregulated series, unregulated parallels. We did regulated mods. We did switch PWMs that were both unregulated and PWM mode by the flip of a switch. Or even developed back in the day a tracking mod. I had a mod that had a tracker in it. That if you took away so much from your mod, your phone would activate. It would start beeping and flashing. And, we made a lot of interesting things. And I designed all the PCB boards in-house. So I designed them all. I got them manufactured in China. And then we populated them here in the U.S. because the boards are too expensive to develop in the U.S. They were way too expensive. So we started going to trade shows. We would go to, all these different vape shows in Syracuse, New York, in Detroit, in Virginia, in New Jersey, and we were selling our product. And we got a really, really good response to Ronin Box Mods, and that's really what continued the drive to today.
That's awesome.
But I just thought I can build a better mousetrap, and I went out there and I did it.
That's so cool.
And then just continue to develop from there.
Awesome.
Nice.
Give me a second. I'll be right back.
Okay.
So let's put Stevie on the spot. Same question, brother. What got you into DIY, and what was your initial push to start getting it out there to more people?
Okay, so you want the long version or the short version?
Don't give a my version.
Yeah, we're all about the good times here. We love our stories.
All right. So a few years ago, coming into vaping, I heard that, of course, people were doing YouTube reviews. So one day I was going into the vape shop. I was picking up bottles of e-liquid that were ridiculous priced. I remember even buying some frame staple. I bought some frame staple aliens, I believe. They were $45 a pair.
Oh my gosh!
At a local brick and mortar, yeah. The juice was just expensive, and at the time I was living paycheck to paycheck. I would walk in and get a bottle of e-liquid, and it was just ridiculously priced. And then you were stuck with that one bottle. If you didn't like it, it was. I remember at the time it was a Banana Foster's, but it was horribly done, and I felt like I was gagging every time I vaped, but I wanted to stay off of cigarettes. So I was forcing myself through that bottle, and eventually I found online sales and stuff like that, and I was like, you know what? Maybe there's somebody that can get some information off of what I have to say, and probably give them some cheaper ways of vaping and whatnot. So I started reviewing on YouTube. Those of you that have a bottle of my juice, if you look underneath where it says Stevie Marquez, there's an S, Roman numeral 4, and an R. What that means is that used to be my YouTube handle. It was Slave for Red.
Okay.
So that's kind of my nod to my past. I wanted to have it on my label. and it's stayed there. It's been a part of who I am, and kind of for me to never forget. So when I reviewed, I know that a lot of people talk down on e-juice reviews. I know they do, but I myself, I mean, as an upcoming a person that didn't have a lot to review, a person that had a smaller channel, I felt that the e-liquid reviews were beneficial, not only in giving me product to review, but a lot of the notes that I was picking up and a lot of the followers that I was able to obtain along the way liked that I was able to grab notes that they didn't even notice before. And that's one thing that helped progress and started knowing. I did restaurant management in the past, and
Okay.
I learned from a wine sommelier how to match wines with food, and I utilized that in my e-liquids, how to pick out some of the notes.
Very cool.
Well, throughout my YouTube career, I started to get strikes when everybody started getting strikes on YouTube, and I ran with my tail between my legs after my second strike. I hid all my videos. I hid them all, and I still have them hidden to this day, just to save my name. And I was so used to having something to do that I sat there with I was twiddling my thumbs for a long time, just looking for that next passion. What am I going to do? I don't want to go back to reviewing. And at the time when the New York vape ban, the flavor ban was being talked about, a buddy of mine reached out to me and was like, "Hey, Steve, I don't know what I'm going to do." So I was like, let me think about it. Let me do some things. And I probably had like 10 flavors in my arsenal. I was just mixing, I want a strawberry cheesecake, and I would just mix strawberry and cheesecake and then vape that myself, just for myself.
Right.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to take this a little bit more seriously. I sat down. I started to flavor develop. I studied each flavor at different percentages individually, put some stuff together. He loved it. From there, I was in a Discord for another reviewer. With them, I was sending out e-liquid, like Gary can remember. I would send out e-liquid and say, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And ever since then, it just progressed. Okay, I got 1 flavor down, 2 flavors down, 3 flavors down. The word started to spread like, "Hey, Steve, can I get some juice? I'm on a budget. I only have this much money. I live on Social Security. I'm disabled." Whatever their situation was, they couldn't afford it, or they couldn't get it in their area. So I was like, yeah, of course. I had no issue with that. And of course, a few people started to snowball to even more. And I kind of felt bad doing this in an individual's Discord. It's not my group, but I might as well send him some flavors to hand out to his viewers. And for a while, he was doing that in mystery boxes. He would bulk up the mystery boxes with some of my juice, and I was getting positive reviews. And
That's
a lot
cool.
of people that were reaching out to me were either people that had flavor bans in effect, that were on a budget, and I wanted to control who I was offering to, so I started my group on Facebook, and that list just started snowballing more. My list started snowballing more. I loved developing flavors, and that's how my group came about. I wanted to help people that needed help.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's up,
Now,
Cody Burns? How you doing?
What's a typical, I guess, like time frame? And I'm sure each flavor is different, but as far as like, hey, I've got an idea for a pineapple, beard tickler. From thinking of that flavor to getting it to where you want it to be, what's your kind of timeline of, like trial and error, I guess?
It depends. Right now, when people are reaching out asking me for requests, I tell them it's going to be a few months.
Okay.
I'll never mix just to mix.
Right.
I'll tell them the God honest truth. I'll never mix just to mix. I'm afraid of that. The thinking behind that is a strawberry. Let's say you're asking for a strawberry something. I have strawberry on hand. but there's so many flavor houses out there that make a strawberry. Is it a tart strawberry? Is it a strawberry with seeds? Is it a juicy strawberry? Is it a jammy strawberry? And those that I don't have or that I haven't flavor tested before, I'll order samples. So when somebody puts in a request, this is another thing that I have to kind of factor in, because I do the testing on my dime. I order these flavors, these little test samples, and I actually still to this day I take flavor notes. So I'll take flavor notes at 0.5%, it tastes like this. At 1%, it tastes like this. At 1.5, it tastes like this. Plus, I let them sit. I let them steep by themselves with VG, PG. Then I start going on to the next flavor. Okay, creams. Let's develop the cream now. There's so many different creams. Are we going for something that's a little more yogurty? Are we going for something a little bit more eggy? Are we going for something a little bit more whipped? And after I do that to the cream, then I start combining them. Okay, how's this one at 0.5? How's this one at 0.5? Okay, I want a little bit more of the strawberry. Let's do this at 1.5. Then I have to let it sit there, and I don't want the flavor to mute either. Sure. So some people talk about other juices that they've tried, it mutes over time. It's because they don't let it sit, and that's it sucks to not really be able to give a time frame, because if I let it sit there for a month and then the flavor mutes, I got to go back to the drawing board. Was it the actual strawberry? Was it maybe does another flavor house have a similar strawberry that has a better longevity overall? It's different factors, so it's a little bit hard to give an X, Y, and Z answer to that. But
sure, no, I get that.
That's my process. And when people tell me, "Nah, just mix it," I always give the example of when you were in kindergarten and we learned how to mix two colors together, red and blue, to make a third color. You don't just throw colors together. If not, you're going to get a shitty brown, or you're going to get a shitty color. That'll happen when you just throw mixes in together, not really thinking about it, not really feeling it out. It's going to come out to that shitty brown. So
that's wild.
There's a whole process.
So that would drive me insane.
I love it.
But you want to see the first one ever made? That's the first one.
Oh, very cool.
Hold on, let me showcase.
Look at that mess in there.
Oh wow.
That was the first one I made. I actually cut this board with a Dremel outside my house. Fiberglass everywhere. But had protective fuses on it, which are these, and that was a 60-watt mod 8 years ago. And then it morphed into this guy, which is
wow.
Oh, nice.
So that was like Series 3. After testing Series 2, we made Series 3, which is an unregulated series. And many more. But I mean, from one generation to the other, it was leaps and bounds different.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it.
Yeah.
Nice.
Still have the first one ever made.
That's
and what chip
cool.
was in that one?
I'm sorry?
Did you have a chip in that one?
Yeah, this one has the T10 over here.
Okay.
It's a Murata 60-watt, what they call T10. So this was a max of 60-watt dual 18650, which was the most popular batteries back at that time. But, you know, I had a freaking DigiKey sled on it, a Fat Daddy 510 that I would never put on a mod, ugly as sin. You know, not low profile. I mean, it's... And even I used the button I got at that time is the one that they put on the... what's the company that uses these buttons? I can't remember their name now. Oh, Hexome?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which I hate these things with a passion. The look of it, the feel of it, nothing. But it was like, you know, the first experiment in a stupid Hammond box. 1590B.
Jeez, that's cool, man.
No, I still have the first one I ever made. Never got rid of it, never will.
I don't have the first coil I ever made, but that is very cool.
Yeah. No, it's just nostalgic. You know what I mean? It's like
totally.
I have every prototype I ever made, and I still own every single one of them. Because any mod that we made when we custom designed the boards, I would test them for about 6 months. You know, I had 2 other testers in the market that would test them for me. and then they would give me their feedback before we actually, made the last version before production. Because if
that's
anything
cool.
was going to go wrong, I bet it's better to go wrong with me than the user.
Oh, definitely.
Once we had all the confidence built in, and we were sure that all the safety features were built in, even these have auto resettable fuses. They actually reset with heat. So if you put a build on here that's way too low, these fuses, which the battery voltage goes through, they warm up and they open. So this way, it will render the mod inoperable until the
Oh, wow.
down and they reset, and then you can use the mod again. So
Oh, very cool.
got a level of safety into them as well.
That is neat.
What's going on, Ben? And then we also got Vince. I'm gonna butcher this. Vincent over on Facebook.
There you go.
I'm gonna butcher the name.
Good save. Good save.
Yeah, right. He says, I remember those, missed the box modder heydays.
Yeah, no, the problem is it's all PWM this, PWM that, DNA this, DNA that. I mean, those days of unregulated are, I wouldn't say they're gone, but, that the glory days are a little bit past.
Right. So I got someone over on my YouTube side. Sam says, Steve, I have a request.
Uh-oh. Get ready, Steve.
So what's your request, Sam?
I'm curious to see what Sam's got.
Wants a pizza with anchovies flavor.
Ooh, I'd vape that.
Vincent says, Brother Alex, God bless.
What's up?
I'm kind of curious to know what Sam's request is.
It's taking him a second, so I'm curious
right?
too.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, Joe, what is your most popular board that you do right now in your mods? I know your mod variety is very vast in what you can do. So what boards, chips are your big ones these days?
Definitely the DNA 250C is the most popular because, I consider that the iPhone of mods. It's very simple to use. There's not a lot to know. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of features they can really play with unless they get into eScribe. It's pretty much hit the button and go. And with the DNA 250C, if you want to use a 0.5, if you want to use a 0.07, it doesn't care. It's regulated.
Right.
So by far, the DNA 250C is probably the most popular. Right behind that used to be the NLPWM when they were available. I mean, we would make them, by the 20s and 30s, sometimes per week.
Wow.
It was in the NLPWMs we make. And then, then basically with the component shortage, Voltrov is no longer making them. So now I resorted to the SPWM, which is the heart of the NLPWM. That was the first generation. Then it morphed into the NLPWM, as we know. So there's only a couple of features less that you're getting on the SPWM versus the NLPWM. But now, I would say DNA 250C as the top and the SPWM as a pretty close runner-up.
Okay.
But, we do make other ones. We do make the 250. We still use some unregulated boards here and there, but those are really far and in between. But the DNA 250 is the most popular.
Yeah.
It's a solid chip.
Not my favorite. No, it's not all that good. They should have put a little bit more thought into it.
Really?
Yeah, they should have went to a USB-C charging system instead of the micro USB. Micro USB, the ports break over time. The C is sturdier. And the C also, you're going to get a 12-volt charge instead of a 5-volt charge. So it's going to, rapid charge the battery a little bit better. And, screen material could have been a little bit better. Could have been, there could have been a tougher glass on the screen.
Okay.
Because some people, sometimes they have a little bit too much to drink and they miss the fire button. And they actually get their thumb into the screen and, cracks it. So there's a couple of things they could have done a little bit better. The charging system could be better. It's not a true balance charger, if that makes sense.
Right.
So-
yeah, I've heard a little bit of back and forth on people and what they say about using the charge port and stuff like that. And no, it's
Yeah.
balanced, and people disagreeing with it.
Right. So over time, your LiPo will go off balance. That's just historically known about LiPos. They go off balance, and as one cell starts to get lower in voltage, the DNA board doesn't care. So now your meter's at 97, 95, 94, and it keeps going down.
Gotcha.
So it should be smart enough to know that once a cell reaches 4.2, then it stops charging that one cell, but continues with the one that's lower. But
Right.
the DNA is not smart enough. So, I usually recommend people get like this little charger from Amazon, which is a very, very small, this is the size of it. This
Okay.
little thing. And basically, it doesn't, all you do is you plug your balance port connector into it, and it will actually balance your battery back up.
Oh, nice.
About $27. And there's a
Oh,
red
super
light and
cool.
a green light. When the red goes green, it's done.
Nice.
So, some people will send their mod back to me. I will balance it for them, or I just have them, purchase this on Amazon, and they can just balance their own battery. They don't have to take the battery out. Just get the balance connector off the board and plug it in here, and everything else stays plugged in. And they can balance back up again. But there's a few things I don't like about the DNA 250C. I would have definitely engineered a few other things into it if I was, if they asked me what could I do better with the board, I would have some recommendations. But
Now, what are your thoughts on the 100C chip? What do you think about that?
The 100C is good if you're a wattage vapor. I mean, I have one. Of course, I'm not going to use this Voltrove tank on it. I use them as Addy stands.
Okay.
But, I have my own 100C like Stevie does. Basically, single battery for me is not good because I'm a high wattage vapor. I like, 150, 200 watts. If you're going to vape at 30 watts, 40 watts, great mod. Absolutely perfect, great mod at 100 watts. But the dual battery setup is better because now you're going to have double the current to drive, the loads. You're not going to get that weak battery message you get sometimes.
Yep.
If anybody was going to get a 100C, I would highly recommend doing like a dual parallel 21-700 setup versus
that'd be nice.
Unless you're going to vape at 30 watts, 40 watts, and that's fine. And
No, I haven't given you anything.
Well,
I love mine.
Got my 6 milligram.
but I like the 100C. I have no issue with it at all. But I'm a higher wattage vapor. So basically, a dual parallel will look like this. So
Nice.
not much different.
Very cool.
But 100C, Alex, great board. Very well thought out. I think it's, design-wise, it's better than the 250C because of the micro USB port the USB-C port they have on it.
Right. Yeah, I've got the 100C on a couple of my Boro devices, and with those, I'm 30 to 50 watts, and so far I've been really happy with it.
Yeah, the problem with low wattage vaping, I mean, I don't know a lot about coils. I'm not the smartest man in the room in coils. And, I'll try a 0.25, I'll try a 0.03, I'll try a 0.4. You know what I mean? But I can never get that sweet spot for low wattage vaping.
Right.
So I stick with dual coil setups, which are higher power, and, I can get exactly what I'm looking for. But, low wattage vaping, I can't get it down. I just can't figure it out. I can't. I'll be honest. I can't figure it out.
Yeah.
Steve's got one. He loves it. I mean, I don't know what coil he has in there. I don't know what resistance. I don't know. So when people buy them,
I've got a single coil in this one that I'm running that 6 milligram in it, and the freaking flavor's phenomenal. I have a quad core stag in here, and I'm running it at 55 watts. It's a 0.28, and it's phenomenal. Great flavor, amazing flavor.
Yeah, when people order the C from me, it's a single battery. They ask me what coil should I use. I normally revert them back to the guys that I've sold the mods to already that know a lot more than I do about it. And they'll come back and say, "Oh yeah, I talked to George, or I might talk to John." And they'll tell them, I'm using this type of tank, I'm using this type of coil. And usually they take the recommendation. They're like, hey, yeah, I talked to your friend and he really set me up. I'm really happy with this. Because I don't know, man. I've tried. I can't figure it out.
I love it.
That I will say is the best part about coil building. I think both of us would agree. I've had plenty of people message me like, "Hey, man, I'm looking for some coils." And it's like, "Well, what do you want?" And sometimes it's, "Oh, I'm just getting into rebuildables," or "Oh, I've just been getting whatever my shop has." So I'll ask people like, "What kind of power do you vape at?" You get guys that like 100 plus watts. You get guys that like under 100 watts. And for us, there's so much different stuff we can do where the resistance could be the same, but based off of the mass, like the thickness of the different gauges of wire, even if it's the same resistance, you can really control how much power that coil can handle. So you can have a 1 ohm coil or a 0.1 that's 26 gauge and compare it to a 30 gauge. Like I've got in one of my RTAs, I've got a 6-core 30 gauge stag, and it was 0.1, but it was such a low mass with that 30 gauge wires that I was like, on a mech, it still hit great because resistance wise, but I was like, man, on a regulated. So I put it on one of my 250Cs and, pushed it over, the 4.2 volts, and, the flavor just jumped that much. So, there's a lot of stuff, once you can find, and I typically, unless it's like a mech person that's like, hey, I tube mods, okay, cool. Like 1 ohm, 0.1 and under, I vape really low. Alex and Spike, they both vape really low resistances because I don't want to say I know it all, but I've been building coils since, the OG Pulse Squonker came out. So I probably still vape a lot of stuff that isn't recommended, but I feel comfortable with it. But you can really control, the flavor, how it hits, if it's hot, if it's cooler, it's really cool being able to really dial in flavor just off of, spinning some wire around a rod to make a circle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's a tough thing. I mean, it's good to have guys like yourself and both Alexes that really understand what people are looking for when they say I'm on a regulated, I'm on a PWM, I'm on this, I'm on a Burrow, whatever it might be. Because I mean, if you had to ask me what kind of coil do you need, I'm like, how the hell do I know?
I just make pretty boxes that hit hard.
It's like that mystical art. You know what I mean? The coils show up, you put them in your tank. Oh my God, I've never vaped better than this. It's like, how did he figure out, again, the French menu, the fuse clapped in, 4-core, alien stapled, I don't know. That is all Chinese to me. I have no clue how you guys figure all that out.
I do what Stevie does. What got me started on building coils was I was getting the pre-made reels and stuff like that, and I would have to really clean the wire, like throw it in my sonic cleaner and really clean it to like get decent flavor out of them, and then I would have to throw them away after like a week or two, and it just wasn't satisfying. So that's what kind of kicked off my journey to find the perfect vape. Find the perfect coil for the way that I vape and the flavors that I vape. So like I've tried a lot of crazy different variations of coils, and each one kind of makes different juices shine. I still haven't found the perfect one. I've gotten pretty close, but each type of coil I make little notes because I'll make different variations. Like I'll use it for like single cell mech, and then I'll do it for like a Boro, and then I'll do it for a regulated version of it, and I'll find out like which variations work better under certain conditions, and then I'll make notes. So when someone's like, oh hey, I'm running a 250C lipo with a Voltro 30 on the velocity deck, I'm like, boom, okay, I already know what works really, really well in an RTA and at high wattage. and
Yeah.
then I just build accordingly to that RTA or whatever they're using and stuff like that.
But maybe you could break it down to layman's terms. I mean, but then there's different wires. There's N80, there's N90, there's Kanthal, there's stainless steel, and probably 15 more that I have not named. And it's like, how do you know which wire to use with what coil for what purpose?
And it goes back to, just going back, just messing with the wire, because like Kanthal's good. It can be a good wire, especially if you're using regulated, but you're not going to use it on a Mac. It just doesn't have that fast ramp up. You're going to be sitting there trying to get a good heat. If you like heat like I do, you're going to be waiting a while for that kind of to ramp up. And then you jump over to like stainless steel N80, which ramps up a little bit faster. And then you got like stainless steel and NI90, which NI90 has, like, if you build it right, has literally no ramp up. It gets hot really fast, lots of vapor, really dense. So like once you start playing with each individual and figuring it out, it's like flavors. You know what works well with what for like kind of like what formulas, and then you just apply to what they're going to be using it for.
So from what I'm hearing is like Kanthal seems to be a higher resistive wire.
Yes.
Yes.
Than the stainless or the N80, N90s would be. And then if someone's looking for something that's pretty wide coil wise, then it might be a hybrid of a high resistance wire with a low resistance in parallel would drop the resistance down.
Yes.
Yeah. Like we have two Fralian variations. We've got kind of like a loose menu of coils that are like, hey, we've got, like 8 or 10 varieties of coils that we kind of started off with. And like our interlocking Fralians, I was in the Marine Corps, and Alex, both of us actually are big Second Amendment, pew pew people. So a lot of our coil names that are on our menu are military kind of weapon related names, just to kind of pay homage to what we enjoyed in, my service. And so the hogs, they are NI90 internal. So there's the frames are 28 gauge, that's NI90. And then the ribbon wire is also Nichrome 90. But then the interlocking 36 gauge is Nichrome 80. And, the way we make those 4 wraps, 3 millimeter inner diameter, it's 0.07. And your outer wrap wire typically doesn't affect resistance a whole lot. If we did full NI90, it might be a 0.06, 0.07, based off of like, I like to have, I like to have pretty short leads and, kind of keep the coils close. And then there's, certain decks that you need longer legs, it just kind of depends. So that's typically where you see your most resistance. So typically, if I send someone a coil and it's labeled as a 0.07, it could be an 06 to an 08, kind of one up or down. It just kind of depends upon how tight you pull it when you're installing it. If you don't tighten it, there's a little bit of fluctuation, but generally it's that 0.07 range. And then like someone might want, and I've got my buddy Chris is allergic to nichrome, so he has to vape Kanthal. So the mad scientist is in the house. What's up, brother? So some guys just based off of the materials, they can't vape certain things, which is nice because like, okay, regardless, they either don't like the taste or a nickel allergy will prevent them from using Nichrome 80 or 90. So things like that will play a factor. But then, I think we both have a few amount of customers that for, borer devices, they like a higher resistance. You can get better battery life, depending upon your application. So I've got a few guys that like Kanthal in their borer devices, but then when they get regular coils, they like Nichrome 80 or 90. And then we've got some guys that are like, oh, well, with Kanthal, I get kind of a metallic taste to the juice. Which I personally don't notice. I think actually in my black and orange C4 mod, I've got a Kanthal alien, and normally it would be like a 0.3 and it's like a 0.4, 0.5. in the RBA that I have it in. So there's a lot of variations. And then, like maybe you want to make a really wide coil, a wider mass coil. Some guys will say they get better flavor off of it because there's more surface area to the coil, so you can get more, soak up more juice when you go to fire it. It's more surface area, so you're getting more vape out of it, for instance. So you could do a Canthal and then nichrome outer wrap to kind of get the playing field. And maybe some guys aren't a big fan of Canthal, so that nichrome outer wrap, which is going to kind of help soak up the juice, and the alien weave is going to allow more juice to get into the weaves. So when you're vaping that Stevie Marquez juice, you can get all that custard flavor. So I mean, it's crazy. Like I don't consider myself a very smart guy. I was infantry Marine Corps. If that goes to say my level of intelligence, I like to eat crayons. So I was super stoked, going from 24 gauge round wire on my pulse and the Dead Rabbit to then fused Claptons to aliens to Fralians, and just slowly progressing in my craft. And I've still got so much to learn. I'm always talking to Alex about like, dude, how'd you do that? What's this? What's that? And we'll pick each other's brains about different builds we're working on and things like that. So it gets pretty cool sometimes.
Yeah. So basically, what you're saying is the more juice touches more coil surface, technically, the better flavor would be.
Yeah. I mean, to me, that's how I see it.
Yes.
If you've got,
Go ahead.
well, okay. So if you've got a wider surface area, in theory, that's more areas for the the cotton to wick the juice, and then here again, depending on the intricacy of the coil, you'll get guys like Jay Hayes and other guys that are like, oh, a fused Clapton is going to vape as good as an alien. I kind of get that to a point, but to me, more surface area, more vape, more flavor, kind of, and dumbing it down, keeping it simple terms, is how I kind of see it. And I've got I really like the way that interlocking aliens and Fralians vape, because you've got two, it kind of makes like a braid pattern. So it's just more nooks and crannies for juice to soak up in. But definitely coils are surprisingly a very hot topic amongst debate, with different people as far as, what people like and what people don't like. And yeah, I mean, I personally, aliens and stags are kind of my favorites. But, if you were to give me a fused Clapton, an alien, and a stag, and I didn't know what device they were in, I wouldn't be able to be like, oh, well, that's a fused Clapton, that's an alien. I don't think. I've never done a blind taste reaction to myself, which I would be pretty interested to, Alex sets me up 5 devices and they all have different coils, and I try and figure out what's in there. Would be interesting to see.
We're going to have to do that one show.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I mean, it sounds stupid, but why not a cottonless coil? How people have these tanks now that have those metal braided, whatever the hell you call them, in the burrows?
So, back in the day.
Yeah, I mean, that would be like a coil 2.0, in my opinion.
So back in the day, there was various different kinds of wicking materials. When I got into vaping a few years ago, I want to say silica wicks were still around. Mm-hmm. But cotton bacon was, the best thing in the world. I'm not the biggest expert on that, but I think a lot of it has to do with not letting the metal get too hot. Because, if you heat the metal up too much and your vape, and the vape coming, you're going to be getting in too much of the chemical stuff, I would say. So. Yeah. In my mind, the coil, the cotton in the coils helps keep the coil cool, hence, getting the burnt cotton taste and stuff like that. Obviously, you hear about all those vape studies about, oh, well, there's arsenic and death in vape. Well, they're sitting there holding the fire button. Yeah, they're burning the cotton. They're heating the coils up way beyond a normal
Yeah.
level.
they're,
Here
it's
we go.
got traces of chromium. Well, it's
Yeah.
no fucking shit because you're heating it so hot that it's breaking down.
Yeah, so the scientist is saying I still run mesh wicking in my Jenny tanks. So there you go. There's still guys out there that will use the mesh rolled up in the, I believe you're talking about the Genesis style tanks, where the metal mesh wicks the juice for you.
Right.
So, but I mean, here again, I think cotton's probably the most effective and easiest way to keep the coil saturated to, as far as flavor goes to, the safest route you could do probably.
And I think that's especially more for like high wattage vaping.
Yeah.
Because I think mesh wicking is mainly for low wattage. I'm not 100% on that, but don't quote me because I've actually used mesh wicking. But from my understanding,
let's ask the scientist. What I'm curious, what kind of power
what
are you
wattage?
running on those tanks? Is it a high power with the mesh wicking, or are you more of a low power with the mesh?
The wattage.
Who were you asking that question?
Low.
Low wattage. Yeah, since everybody started going above, 50, 60 watts and stuff, you got to have something that keeps up. I think that mesh would, if you're trying to do 120 watts, 130 watts on a mesh, it's gonna get really hot really fast.
So what you're saying is that Stevie should come out with a high wattage juice.
He should.
Well, I mean,
I didn't
if
hear
it
no.
means anything, most of the juice that I got from Steve, I mean, I vape most of it at like 300-400 watts on a stock.
Yeah, I have two other individuals that vape super high wattages, and they kind of told me the same thing. They're like, the flavor, I tried it in a friend's burrow, and the flavor actually withstands through all that wattage. I was like, man.
Yeah, I've had a couple of your juices in my RBAs, running 5+ volts. And, here again, volts, just because you're low wattage, I look more at like how much volts you're pushing through certain coils. So I've had stuff at, 5-6 volts that's like, holy cow, the flavor, jumping out like crazy. And it gets really good. And then I've had stuff that I run, 3.5 to 4 volts, and it's like, oh man, yeah, this is still really good. So even, hot or cold, it's still phenomenal to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What's going on, Willow?
So what's next, Stevie? What are you going to work on next? What's the flavors on the table now that you're working on?
So this is the thing.
Your list is not long enough.
So you can't please everyone. You can't. And
Yeah.
I've learned that when I worked in the restaurant business.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that I'm Hispanic. I'm Mexican, and I used to work in Mexican restaurants down here. And even then, like,
you're El Paso, right?
Yeah, I am. And being in kitchen management, like, we would want to put out salsas, for example. We couldn't make it too hot because you got to please the masses. This even goes as far as like the debate on sweetener itself. Some people want double. I have somebody that orders their juice with 15 times the amount of sweetener.
Holy
I have
smokes.
Yeah, they'll ask
But
for
like
it.
coils and wicks, holy.
Yeah, what do you get, like 2 hits out of that, and you got to re-wick?
And these individuals don't mind re-wicking every day if they have to.
Jeez.
Yeah.
There's some people who want absolutely no sweetener in it.
Mm-hmm.
And flavor is totally subjective. So speaking on what I have a few things in the works right now. I'm not rushing to get them out the door, because trying to please everybody also includes individuals stating that the list itself is overwhelming. So
it is. It's the first time I looked at it, I was like, holy crap, like, what do I try? And I probably went through it like 3 or 4 times trying to figure it out.
I was coming out with 10 flavors a month, and I stopped that after I heard probably like the 12th time I heard that it's overwhelming. I'm like, cool. I'll hit the brakes. I'll have my fun on the back end, but that won't be my top priority anymore, or at least for a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
No, and the one thing I thank you for, Stevie, is putting the flavor of the juice on the label. Thank you.
That is the best change ever. That is awesome.
Every time I have to run to the flavor card, and I'm going through the cards, now which one is this? No, I mean, it was even good to vape without knowing what it was. To see the profile and and guess what the flavor is and what was in it. It's like, sometimes I get 2 out of 3, but half of the time when I would pick up a new bottle, it's like, what flavor is this? Thank God you put them on the label, man. That was so cool of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was your brainchild in pushing me. Honestly, Joe, I'm a man of habit, and I cannot tell you how mentally I had to prepare myself to just change my habit, but it had to be done. Just the group was growing so fast, and I was just used to what I was doing. After a while, yeah.
Even in I've been at it for a long time, and I don't claim to be the one that knows it all or could do it all, but I listen to what people have to say. You know what I mean? Constructive criticism is the best criticism you can get, especially from a youth.
No, 100%.
And sometimes you have to back off and say, am I doing this the absolute best way? And I ask other builders, it's like, hey, what are you doing for this? How are you doing that? They're like, oh, I do it like this and like that. So, I never tried that. Let me check that out. And it can better your product, that couple of points better than what you were doing before. So sometimes you have to really, step back and, really ask someone else. It's like, am I really doing this the best it can be?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not like you're letting your guard down. It's not like you're becoming, defensive of your product or your craft. It's just seeing it from somebody else's eyes.
Yeah.
No, 100%. If you care about what you do, and you're not open to criticism, if someone says, I had someone message me the other day, and they were like, "Hey, man, I'm having some issues with this coil. It's not running. It's supposed to be a .07." And he had it on his DNA, and he was showing me after he'd fire it, and he'd recheck the resistance, and it would jump up like a 0.11, 0.12. And I was like, I'm just going to say I've never had no one's messaged me saying, the X coil has been doing this. This is a first for me. And I said, but, whatever I sent you, go ahead and send it back to me, and I will replace the coils and resend them to you. My ultimate end goal is to make sure, you're satisfied with what you get. Both of us are like that.
Right.
I, obviously, to be successful, I need you to come back. Or, you to say, hey, I got some coils from Alex and Alex over at WarNation, and man, it was a really good coil. So if you completely shut yourself down to criticism, whether it's like, hey, Stevie, I was running that juice, man, and it was too sweet for me. Like, I'm just checking, and Stevie's like, okay, well, we got this. Well, I did it the way I did. Hey, man, maybe I messed up, just whatever. Like, you have to be able to take criticism, take feedback, good or bad. Right. And I've had plenty of people come back to me just because I offered, hey, let me, a coil got damaged in shipping. I'll send you a new set. You still have one good one. I'll send you a new set plus an extra coil. You got 2 sets now. I'm not going to do that. Now, if every time you order coils from me, like I said, I'm a crayon eating Marine, so I'm not the brightest bulb in the box, but I know when someone's trying to get one over on me. And I'm sure both of you guys, from making mods and making juice have run into those situations where you're like, okay, something's not kosher here. And it sucks, but people are people. But like I was saying, you got to be receptive.
And you're right. I mean, this honesty runs deep in this industry.
Unfortunately, it does.
I get calls from people like, oh, I just got your mod and it's not working. It's like, did you put the batteries in right? Oh, yeah, I did. It's like a video. Batteries are in backwards. Put the mod on the shelf. It's been there for 6 months. Now it's not working. Well, because your LiPo's drained down.
Yeah.
There are a few things of common sense that need to be applied, not to have some issue down the road. But I had one girl that called me up, and it was funny. She goes, "Oh, I was at a pool party. The mod dropped in the water. It short circuited, and I want to see if you can help me out." I replaced all the internals to her for free, for the sole reasons that she was straight up and honest with me about what happened.
Yeah.
Somebody else could have dried it out and said, "Oh yeah, your mod broke. It just stopped working all of a sudden. I get it back dripping wet." It's
Right.
like, just be honest. Stop
Yep.
trying to get one over.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I'm gonna be much more willing to help you out if you just shoot me straight.
Yeah.
Hey, I dropped the coil down the air vent. Had that happen with a guy before, and I was like, dude, I got you. Send him some fresh coils. Like, I'm human. I make mistakes. I may send Stevie a coil and it's jacked up a little bit, and I just didn't catch it. Like right now, I'm making the coils for you, Joe, and I'm doing probably like about a 3-foot run of alien wire. And while I'm doing the aliens, I can see if the wire's laying down good or bad. I had one section, about maybe 1/4 of an inch, 1/2 an inch that got a little fumbled up, but I still had 3 feet minus 1/2 an inch. So I cut that 1/2 inch piece out and threw it away. And then when I make my coils, I put them all in these little containers, and I've got a little storage thing over here, and I've got stuff labeled, for the 8-10 coils that we have on menu that, when I'm slow, I'll kind of make stock coils. But still, I'll reach up in there, I'll pull out a set of coils, I'll go over them with my eyes, but I still miss stuff. I wear contacts, and when I build, I don't wear them, so I blame it on the contacts. But, we miss stuff, we're human. And, I'm going to do everything to make it right.
Yeah, but you stand behind what you do. That's
100%.
That's a big part in this industry is that, we give the people what they pay for and sometimes more. I think people need to be treated the way we want to be treated.
Oh, yeah,
And
definitely.
I think some of that element is gone when it comes to even like mod makers. You message them, they never get back to you. It's like that. That's just not the way it should be done.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest thing that I hear currently is that, oh, I messaged Spike about a mod and it's been 2 months. I'm a pretty patient guy, when it comes to, like Stevie. Every time I've ordered juice from Stevie, both times it's been, hey man, it's, I'm working on it, or, hey, I'm checking. I don't think I've ever messaged him, hey, I'm checking in. Cause like I said, I know he's making something, if I'm getting a mod, you're making something. But, like when it comes to coils, if someone gets 2-3 sets of coils and I'm not busy, I can typically get that out the next day. And so I'll always tell people, hey, Monday or Tuesday. And I'm not sure if you guys know, but my daughter, she has brain cancer. And so I'll typically tell people, hey, Monday, Tuesday, if it's a first-time customer, unless something comes up with my daughter, she's got brain cancer, and just the chaotic world we live in, I don't know what tomorrow, if it's going to be a hospital trip, whatever. So I kind of put that out there, just so like the next day it's like, oh yeah, I'm at the hospital. Like you hear that way too much in the vape industry, unfortunately. So I give that little, preface to people, but I stay on top of letting people know, hey, everything's going good. Like I'm building coils tonight for Bob. I'm going to send Bob some pictures as I go. And then in the morning, hey man, I'm getting them out. Here's your tracking, and shoot it off. And, always send people their tracking information and stay in touch with people.
No, it's like you said, Stevie does that. You order and then you pretty much says, hey, I'm working on it. I'm going to ship it out tomorrow. Yep. Tomorrow's a shipping label and the bottles and all that. And I like to be a part of the juice process with him. It's cool to see kind of the, how you are in the queue. And we do the same thing. Basically somebody orders a custom wrap from us. We'll send them a template, what it's going to look like on the box, just to make sure that, the image lays down correctly. And then we approve that. Then we go into sublimation and we apply the image. And I usually send them a video of the box when it's done and wrapped. So they're always in the know exactly at what step of the process they're in. And some of them, I feel like I'm part of the build. I'm like,
yeah.
that's pretty cool. You know what I mean? But it's like, you're not like other people where it goes into this black hole. I make a payment and a box shows up at my door 6 weeks later. So,
Yep.
but what happened during those 6 weeks? They have no clue what's going on. So we try to keep the customer in the process as much as possible, throw in the different iterations, all the way to build, to ship, to label, to tracking.
And I think that goes a long way too, for the customer, being able to see the process, know what's going on. Especially a box mod is a little bit more of an investment than $20-$30 for coils. If it was easy to make what you make, everybody would be doing it, but it's not easy, so.
I don't think it's not that hard. I encourage a lot of people to build their own mods. I send them to the places I get my equipment from, and I encourage people, if they wanted to try to build, I will help them as much as I can, with the
That's awesome.
The tips. But I think building your mod, like when I built my first one, there is no greater feeling when you use that device in your hand. You know what I mean? Like, I made this. That is an incredible feeling. Can they do everything we do? No, because we have other processes that would be very, very expensive to get up and running. But just, a plain box with a DNA and a battery in it, it's not all that. I mean, it might not look the best, but if you haven't done a couple of hundred of them, but, it's still a great accomplishment. But
I bet.
Like the story I'll tell you is that when my partner and I, when we formed Ronin Box Mods, we had a meeting, and Bruce asked me, he goes, "How do you want to run this business?" I said, the one main thing that we need to, uphear or uphold to is customer respect. And he's like, "What do you mean?" He says, I said, customer service is good, but customer respect is more important. And he goes, "What do you mean?" I said, what I mean is they call us, we pick up the phone. They message us, we message them back. You know what I mean? Always being responsible and respectful to their time.
Yeah, that's huge.
And Bruce looked at me like I was weird, but it really was the golden formula for Ronin Box Mods to get off the ground. It was just that attention we gave our customers. Because, like I said before, they're spending, $200, $300, $400, $500. They want to know, and they should know. But, customer service is good, but I think customer respect is key in this industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, without, the devices, the juice, the coils, we wouldn't have anything. And respect, I think, for us, as far as the business side goes both ways. If someone's going to message me, "Hey, I've got a problem," I'm much more willing to do anything in my powers to help somebody out if they're respectful to me and my time.
Right.
I'm sure you guys are the same way. I have countless people message me about coils, and I never hear from them again, but I still treat them like I'm making coils for Spike when they message me the first time. I'm going to give you the respect, and I understand not everyone's going to order. That's fine. If not me, there's someone else out there that can get you what you need. And both of us have other coil guys that will recommend if you're not happy with our product. So,
but the whole thing is, like, when I get a brand new customer, we kind of walk them through the process, kind of a little bit of a hand-holding process.
Sure.
But it usually only occurs the first time around. When they come back for the second one, they're like, "Hey, I know how you work. I know your process. I'm in tune with you. Let me know when it's ready to ship." It's that simple.
Yep.
Because a lot of people are like, "Hey, I've gotten screwed over. I paid money. I never got a product. I couldn't get it serviced." And that's kind of what they're leery about, is their past experiences.
Oh, definitely.
And that ruins it for a lot of people. Maybe Stevie making juice, you guys making coils, me making mods. People, when they come to someone they've never done business with, they really come and look at you sideways. Like, is this guy as shady as the last guy?
Yep.
You know what I mean? And we put them through the whole process. I mean, first time, second time, 10th time, I don't care. It don't matter. But they kind of get the feeling, it's like you're responsible, you're responsive, you're on top of, you really are doing the right thing. And they just make the order and say, "Hey, when you have a tracking number, let me know." It's that simple. But
I for a while personally was very anti-DIY as far as juice, because I had a really bad experience with a juice maker and it really put me off. There was a huge quality control issue with one of my juices, and just completely unsafe. Oh, Vince, you behave. You get that experience where it's like, oh man, my last DIY guy, oh no, and it put me off for a while. But then Spike got me in touch with the guy that was doing stuff for a little bit, and his stuff was good. And then through a mutual friend of Stevie's and mine, Nick, he was like, hey man, check this out. And I was like, ooh, all right. So I can definitely understand. Oh, is he? What's up, Nick?
Yeah,
I can understand when people get hesitant about past experiences. But yeah, you sometimes you just got to say screw it, and go for it.
I mean, even with me, when other big modders went out of business, I mean, we all know the names. People like, hey, I can't get this mod fixed. I'm like, send it to me. I'll do it. If it's just a switch or a battery sled or something simple, I'd be more. Because, I just feel bad that someone got stiffed for $500 and they can't get their device fixed. That's just not the way the industry should be.
Oh, definitely.
And the whole thing is, by fixing that person's mod, they're like, hey, he's a pretty cool guy. Maybe I'll order a mod from him in the future. And if they don't, it's fine. I don't care. I didn't do it with anything, expecting anything on the back end. I just don't want to see someone who only has one mod not be able to vape. Because we all know where they're going to go if they're not vaping.
Yep.
I kind of think it goes back to that mentality where I stated at the beginning, 100%, is that individuals give us the opportunity. It's not us. They give us the opportunity to show what we have to do, what we have to offer. And there's even been times in conversations where individuals like, thank you, and I'm like, no, I thank you for the opportunity to let me show you what I have to offer. You don't know if this is going to be the last time you hear from them. You don't know if it's going to be their only order. You don't know if they're going to be your top buyer going forward. I mean, it's how you handle each thing, and I think that's what I have. Certain practices that I do on a daily basis that it's hard for me to get out of it. A lot of people ask, "Hey, Steve, why don't you have your girl help you, or why don't you start hiring?" It's that I know what's going into that bottle, and it's me. It's my name on it, and I want it right every single time. That's also the same reason why I don't bulk mix. I get the reasoning behind it. I get that it'll shave off time, but I want to make sure that is accurate every single time. And it doesn't.
That makes 100%.
Yeah. See, even going off what you said, it's like, people ask me, oh, why don't you hire someone else so you can make them faster? It's not about fast. It's about quality, not quantity.
Definitely.
I've taken mods where I ripped them all apart just because I didn't like the way a wire was running, or I didn't like a solder joint. I ripped the whole thing apart and start again. Because if I'm not happy with it, more than likely who's getting it is not going to be happy with it. It's got to be something I'd be proud to hold.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, when people, thank me, it's like, no, there's nothing for you to thank. The pleasure is all mine.
Yep.
You chose me to build your device, to put this thing in your hand that you're going to use on a day-to-day basis. Believe me, I should be thanking you because you came to me with your business. It's humbling when somebody orders something from you that it's the first time. It's like you're coming to me to get my product. That's a great feeling.
Yeah, that means a lot.
It means a lot. It means a hell of a lot. I mean, there's a trust factor built in there. There's a quality factor that they're looking for. Maybe, some of them like to have 3-hour conversations, and I'm okay with that too. You know what I mean? Because like I said, if Alex came to me out of the blue as a first-time buyer, the mod I'm building for Spike can take 2 hours for me to talk to Alex. You know what I mean? It's like, I just like, I like people to be educated when they come and buy something, to know what a DNA is, to know what a PWM is, different box sizes, different lipos, different batteries. It's good for them to go away saying, yeah, I understand now. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
Not just, like my website right now, we're redoing the whole website. So JDmods is, .com is down. but I'm retooling the whole website because I never wanted to make an order website because every custom mod is really a one-on-one interaction. You know,
Oh, definitely.
and all that. And I wanted to make my website when it was up. It was purely informational, battery safety, CASA, all the different advocacy groups. You know, you
That's
can
awesome.
go there and get information. It's there not to sell you anything. It's there for you to learn about the industry, about battery safety, and about what we do. And that's how I always wanted my website. And the new one will be the same way. You're not able to order through it, but you're able to learn a lot of valuable information through it.
That's awesome. I can't wait to see it, man.
Oh, it's going to be back soon. I just want to retool it because the whole thing with deeming regulations, you know, it's kind of rebranding it away from vaping a little bit because the stigma of the word more to more informational than it is, you know, vape related. But it'll still have mods on there. It'll still have available devices on there. All that will still be the same. But I just want to structure the website a little bit different next time. Spike, say a few words, man. You're always.
I'll let you guys do your thing.
Oh shit! Is Joe Perry in here?
Oh yeah, Joe's been in here. Yeah, he's been in here for a bit.
My fucking chat's not loading up. Joe.
Yep.
I appreciate it, brother. Joe Perry. I'm sorry. There's too many Joes in here.
Too many Alexes in here.
He sent me a little birthday present package received, brother. I got everything. And thank you for the extra bottles, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, for some reason, everybody calls me JD. I don't know why, but they do.
He gets out of habit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys don't even know where the name JD Mods comes from.
Yeah, where did that come from?
It's my first three initials with ODS at the end.
Okay.
I was about to say that is initial.
I figured, what the hell, right? Make it simple.
It really is. Simple's better.
Yeah, exactly.
I will have to say one of the things that really, because like when I first started, a couple people came to me and they're like, hey, I heard you make some coils, you know, blah, 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 helped them out. And then the videos I get back from those people enjoying the coils, that right there makes it all worth it.
Yeah, I wish there was some more box openings. I wish there was some more videos. It's like, not that my group is inactive. It's just quiet for some reason.
Yeah.
I wish. I know there's going to be one girl, actually, Donna, from Stevie's side, that's going to do a live box opening. She has not seen her mod. I've seen it already, but she wanted something. You know, first time she opens the box, she will see it for the first time, and I want to see that video because the reaction on people's face really.
Yep. And I mean, like me, if I introduce someone new to WarNation, and you know, yeah, time, you know, when I can afford it, I don't mind helping people out. Hey, you want to try a set? I got you. But I always ask them, hey, do me a favor if you can. Jump in a video call with me before you vape on it. I'd really like to see your first impressions. And yeah, I mean, I'm not the coil maker. I'm just the captain. But I mean, I love it, right? Like I'll eat that up all day long.
So
Yeah,
so answer me this, Spike. Where do you want WarNation to go? What's the intent?
My opinion.
I want what is your vision for WarNation?
I don't know. Make it bigger and just keep growing. Keep growing.
I mean, is it going to be coil centric? Is it going to be, you know, bring juice in there, bring mods in there?
That's not really up to me.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, I'm just the team captain, right? And I just push the button to run the show.
What would better the team? What does the team need? Where do we need to go to get the team, you know, I guess where you want it to be?
That one I'm going to leave up to Alex and Alex to cover.
Okay.
Oh, come on, Spike.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I mean, it's their team, right?
Because the reason I'm asking is without a vision, you know what I'm saying? And I've seen a lot of teams just come and go because they have no vision, they have no, no direction, they don't know where they want to go. They just make a team so they can have a name and a couple of guys playing around with money. There has to be more than that.
So I'll say, Alex and I were fortunate enough to meet via Team Immortal. We were both part of Immortal Mod's team. We both met over our passion for mechanical mods, and we were both kind of dabbling in coils separately. And Alex had actually was like, "Hey man, I used to build," and being a coil builder, and I'm sure DIY and juice, you hear a lot like, "Oh yeah, I used to make my own juice back in the day," and you always kind of have like these preconceived, notions in your head of like some guy in the bathtub, pouring in a bunch of flavors and be like, "This is awesome." And same thing with coil builders. You hear people say, "Oh, I build," and it's like, "Yeah, here's Jeff is in the garage wrapping 20 gauge wire in a circle and he thinks he's a coil builder," So, Alex said that to me and he was like, "Man, I haven't built in a while. I'd love to get some coils." So I sent him a couple sets of coils. And I think that kind of lit the fire for him to really get back into building. And we were, we'd message each other privately about building and stuff. And a couple of guys on the team were like, "Why don't you guys join up?" And we were like, "Man, that's a good idea." And I was fortunate enough to be able to, when I was in Texas 2 years ago, we got to meet up outside the airport, which was super cool. But our biggest thing we talked about when we first started was, yes, growth is awesome. It's, the ultimate end goal is to grow as a company, but we don't want to do it so fast as to where it's like, "Oh, holy cow, I can't keep up with demand." That to me, I think, is the downfall of a lot of people, whether you're a mod company, a juice company, coil builders, your britches get too big. And either quality starts to drop off, you're putting out crap, you're not soldering your stuff properly. You're putting in too much cornbread flavor. You're just not on top of your game. And I don't know, like if Joe, if you do like a mod team, but it's I think from our end, obviously we want people to enjoy the coils and not just be, "Oh, I want to be on a team." I want someone that really enjoys the coils, likes to, install, likes to, is into that stuff. And like Alex was saying, it's always cool to get feedback from people and they send you a message or a video or they post in our group. But the biggest thing is getting the name out there. So finding, people that like what you do, whether it's coils, juice, whatever, like Stevie and Donna. I see Donna everywhere posting, her 75,000 orcas that she has and her, gallon bottles of juice. And I always get a kick out of that. But, so getting the company's name out there is key, and finding people that don't mind taking time out of their day to do that because they like what you do, and then they want to see you succeed also. That's I think the biggest thing, in this Instagram, Facebook world that we live in. Because there's a lot of good guys out there that do coils. There's a lot of good guys that make mods, a lot of good guys that make juice. And I know for me, which is why I went back to Stevie and got, 10 bottles of juice for my second order. You find people that care about what they do and enjoy what they do. And yeah, for us, it does help you make a living. Obviously doing coils is not my full-time job. And I don't ever want that to be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm sweating about getting this order out." Like I like doing coils as a hobby and getting coils. Like we've got coils in UK, We've got coils in South America. We've got coils in Canada. It's cool to see this. South Africa, I've got some coils. It's really cool to see, where you can get your stuff first off as a company. But finding good people that like what you do as a skill and craft and that want to help you succeed is I think the big thing, as far as from a team standpoint. And that's the hardest part, getting people that take time out of their day. Granted, snapping a picture, posting in a few groups takes a couple minutes. But that's always the struggle, is finding people that, are into that stuff. Obviously, Instagram's filled with girls pulling their shirts down and throwing a bottle of juice between their breasts. Are they even vaping it? Like, oh, I saw Stevie's juice between some hot chick's junk. Like,
there was juice there.
What color was the bottle?
Yeah, seriously.
No idea what
If that gets you customers, end game, yeah, that's awesome. But I think for both of us, we're looking for more people that enjoy coils, enjoy what we do, and not just people that put pictures out to try and get the hookup or a discount or free coils. And you can kind of tell when people care and aren't just looking to be a team member. The only thing I ever really I want to be on a team was with Immortal Mods, because I got my first, Immortal tube and I was like, man, this thing's awesome. Found out they had a team and I was like, man, I'm going to work for that. And I've been a part of a few juice teams, and that's always cool. And I never try and be like, I'm not going to message Stevie and be like, yo, Stevie, I want on your team. How many posts a day do I have to do? No, that's just someone looking for a hookup. The team free shit is what I always like to always hear.
That is the big problem with them. Basically, when I would go to vape shows, I met Piva Sardo, I met Nick, I met Mike Vapes, Santos, all those guys. I had really good conversations with them, but never really anybody to review my product, because I think the best reviewer is the guy who receives the mod.
Oh, 100%.
You know what I mean? Because, people say, oh, yeah, well, Nick is reviewing his product because you send him a check. And sometimes that's what you have to do to get a review out of these guys.
Yeah.
And we did look at the team thing, and it was a cluster F. I mean, it was way more work than it was worth. People could not get along. There were a lot of indecision. And I was like, no, I don't want to deal with this. I don't have the time for it. That's the whole thing. I don't have the time. And and that's a hot mess.
That's been, obviously we're a smaller company. And, I've been in a couple groups and stuff like that. And people are like, oh yeah, I've heard of WarNation. And I'm like, I'm one of the guys. We since we teamed up, we've been very upfront about there's two of us. Get our faces out there. Alex has customers that go to him. I have customers that come to me. We're still trying to figure out the whole website stuff and how to have that work. But as we're doing it right now, Stevie could come to me and get coils, and Joe, you could go to Alex and get coils. And, we talk amongst ourselves about customers, about builds, about, and sometimes if Alex is busy.
Not in a bad
way. No. that Stevie guy's a real a-hole. Sometimes if I'm busy, I'll say, hey man, can you make this coil and send it to this guy? And if, he paid me, I'll send Alex the money and vice versa. Or, hey, just message Garcia or, message Sartorius. Or if Alex can do a lot more complex builds that I'm not quite at yet because I'm just mentally challenged when it comes to certain builds. So I'm like, hey, I can't do that, but my partner can. So, we're very upfront about that. And, ultimately, if we don't have, 15 guys that, like posting pictures, we're cool with that. And, I completely understand day-to-day life. Like I said, I have a daughter that has brain cancer. I've got a 13-year-old son. Alex has like a 4-year-old and a 2-day-old baby, so he's got,
a 6-year-old and an 8-month.
Yeah, whatever, same difference. he's got a bunch of little burrito Garcias running around the house. Yeah. So, it's if we don't have a big team, I get it. If we get people that are, into our coils and, want to get us out there, that's awesome. We take care of people that take care of us. That's the biggest thing in the industry is, supporting people that are good at what they do. And in return, I've got no problem helping people out with coils. Can't do it all the time.
I do the same exact thing. Yeah, it might not be a team, but it's a collection of people that pimp your stuff and talk to other people about it and get your business. Yeah, we definitely take care of them. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. And we've got like Toby. Whenever he gets coils from me, I try and reward my customers that come back to me. Give them an extra set. Give them something new to send. To try out. We last week or the week before, one of our guys, Juan, he got 2 sets of coils just, for being in the lives. It's almost like we might have a giveaway to talk about tonight if that were to come up. I don't know,
Foreshadowing.
Oh, whoa. Yeah, Spike, why don't you maybe take my grenade that I just threw out about giveaway and maybe see if we want to talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, we could.
Where did JD go?
All right. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know. Do we want to wait till Joe comes back? Oh, there he is. Hold on. I got you, Joe.
I kind of want to include him because it was kind of his idea.
Yeah, don't hit that back button.
Well, you know what? I got a better idea. Since it was Joe's brainchild, why don't we let Joe talk about it?
About what?
About what we got planned for tonight.
Oh, I'm still trying to figure out my audio. Give me a little bit.
Okay.
So there's more than one reason why we've got Stevie and Joe on here. My number one reason was I wanted to see Stevie's beautiful face because I've never seen his face in person. And I was like, ooh, let's trick him into doing a live show and we can see what he looks like. But no, Spike came to us the other night and said that Mr. JD hit him up and had a proposition between himself and Stevie. And if Joe's audio is working, I'll let him kind of talk about what that is.
Well, about today or what we have coming up soon?
Today.
Oh, today? Yeah, so basically, I approached these 3 gentlemen. I said, why don't we bring Stevie on, introduce him into the community, talk about his juice because it is, phenomenal. And, maybe Stevie can do a little bit of a giveaway. That was kind of the premise of the meeting today.
Hell yeah.
So I will say,
but it's really all up to you guys. I'm not the one giving away the juice. That's Steve's department.
So Stevie, do you have any stipulations for how you want to do this? Do you want to just spin your finger in a circle and smack someone's name?
Spike, are you able to share your screen and pull up randomizer and copy and paste?
Maybe ask him a question about what we talked about today. Somebody will give first person to give the answer.
Ooh, yeah. No.
Yeah, we could do that too.
See who was paying attention, or just spin the wheel.
What color are my eyes?
Which one, right or left?
But yeah, any way you guys want to do it, I can pull up a randomizer if need be.
Can you see who all is currently interacting with us? I see we have 12 viewers right now.
Well, I've been kind of keeping an eye on the chat. I've got some names there.
And what do you want to give away, Stevie? We haven't even talked about that part.
It'll be 3 120 mils, and then
put my name
winner will DM me on Facebook, and then they get to choose the 3. So
nice. Now, I will say we do have some Canada viewers in the house tonight. So are you able to, A, ship to Canada, and B, the money required?
I can ship to Canada. That's not an issue.
But international
the-
should pay for the shipping.
Not
Yeah,
that
well,
Aiden's gonna win.
Yeah, so that shouldn't be an issue.
And I'll even go add to that. We'll also one myself or Alex, probably me because I'm saying it, and Alex is very concentrated. But I'll throw in a set or two of coils for whoever wins as well.
Yeah, my
Sweet.
queue right now is I've got 8 orders up right now. And yeah. And a lot of it is custom stuff like alien stacks, custom SSFCs. I've got some Enigmas.
Well, if you'd
got-
stop advertising that glorious booty hole, you wouldn't be in this predicament.
Well, you know, you got to make money somehow.
But yeah, I don't know. How do you guys want to do this?
What are your
I don't
thoughts,
know.
Mr. Stevie?
Yeah.
I think the randomizer, or if you guys want to do a question, I can think of a question to see if they were paying attention. It's up to you guys.
Let's do a question because I know we
I
have
kinda like
12
that.
people, but yeah, let's do a question.
And while he thinks about that question, should we talk about what's going to be coming up later, I guess,
Yes.
September?
Yes, because I am
Yes.
super excited about
Yes.
what's next.
Yes, because this is
Not
what I've
not
been
to
waiting
take
for all
away,
night.
not to take away from Stevie's delicious juice.
Yeah, but
Which,
what do
if
you
you
think
like
about it?
custards, Steppenwolf is a great custard. But what Mr. Joe has is pretty amazeballs, if you ask me personally.
Well, I think it's going to be more than just me. I think there might be a little bit more on top of that. Maybe some coils, maybe some juice.
Hell yeah.
The possibilities are endless. But yeah,
Yeah.
why don't you tell show what you got for us, Joe?
Well, I mean, if you want to throw up that video, Spike.
Go ahead and
yeah,
throw
do
it
it,
up on
Spike.
big screen,
Just
Spike.
bear with. Okay, there we go. It was
Yeah.
taking a second to load.
You were not ready? Come on.
Okay, guys, feast your eyes on that.
So that's what we will be giving away probably, I think, mid-December, so they can get it before Christmas. It's a custom wrapped Stevie, myself, and WarNation GXL will be a DNA 250C with dual 2170 series batteries. So that's what's going to be on the table from me, and whatever the other guys want to add on, they'll be just a little bit sweeter. But
Man, that's fucking gorgeous.
That
that's
thing is sweet.
Yeah.
from the three of us that will be given away as a thank you to the people from WarNation, Baby Mods, and Stevie's Juice.
Hell yeah.
Now, however you guys want to give it away, that's between Spike, Alex, and Alex. I'm just providing the hardware.
Much appreciated,
So-
man.
I am definitely down with doing some coils with that.
I'll do
And-
some juice too.
Nice. So
Nice,
Tex,
right
you
on.
can thumbs up or thumbs down, but something we had loosely talked about was any orders that come in between tonight and the giveaway will give you an entry into the giveaway with Alex or myself.
Okay.
So that's a possible idea. We could also do just a random randomizer with everybody in the WarNation group. I kind of like the idea because, I don't know, call me selfish, but I like the idea of, hey, you've come to us and gotten coils. This is kind of a thank you for people that have supported us, our way of saying thanks for being customers.
So what if we did it this way, Alex? Like, you guys can post the giveaway on WarNation, link my Facebook and Stevie's Facebook groups for them
Get
to
in all three
give
groups.
us a like or a comment or whatever. And then on WarNation, you can capture that name.
Yeah, I like that.
So this way, they're kind of, seeing what we got, seeing what Stevie got. They know what you guys got. And then I will take that post and also put it in JD Mods, and Stevie could probably put it in his group. So then you're going to get the members I have looking at you guys as well, and, vice versa.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, I like that a lot.
But but all the names will be captured by WarNation, and then you guys can randomize that if you wish, or however you want to do it.
Yeah.
What do you think,
Well,
Stevie?
Yeah.
Ryan, if you're still in here, Ryan, there you go. Go ahead, and I'm sure Spike will get a post up soon. But Ryan, make sure you're in obviously WarNation, Stevie's group, and JD Mods, and just X1. Spike, if you want to put that post up and just throw that video up, and put a link to Stevie's Collective, JD Mods, and then just have people X1 once they're in all three groups.
Okay.
Do not do the @everyone tag because I hate all that. Ryan's and all of them. That's awesome, bro. Don't @everyone because that's annoying. And if you're not active and at least creeping in the group, you miss out. Oh well. But yeah, we'll do a post. Get in all three groups. If you're looking for a custom mod, JD's got you. If you're looking for some awesome juices, Stevie's got you. And if you're looking for some coils that put all three of us together, we got you.
It's the Holy Trinity, right?
Yes.
Oh
Indeed.
yeah.
But I personally want to say thank you to both you guys for not only coming on but doing this.
And
super awesome.
And I would highly recommend that they go to Stevie's group and check out what's going on there now, because I think they can be, they can wind up being 2 times a winner.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
Uh-oh.
But it's in my group as well. It's in both groups. So I think if they took a few minutes and scrolled down a little bit, they might find a pleasant surprise that they can probably take advantage of.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely saw something in Stevie's group the other day.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, also, like we've been talking about the whole show, Stevie has something for everyone as far as flavors, profiles. To me, I always appreciate when I find a juice that every eighth of a bottle I don't have to re-wick. And I've found 1 or 2 juices with Stevie's that are a little bit harsher on coils, but I can still at least get through a half 100 mil, if not 3/4 of 100 mil, before I have to re-wick. Sad Boy is one of my favorite before they sold the company, but like old school butter cookie. Like I love that Sad Boy flavor. But like you were not able to get through a quarter of the bottle before it was like black chunks falling off your coils. It would kill it.
Do you remember a serial killer?
Yes.
Steve has one.
I've actually got that in one of my Boros right now.
That with a cup of coffee in the morning is money.
I've got that down. I've got one of our kitchen cupboards. The top shelf is like my downstairs vapes, and the wife hates me every day for it because the aroma comes out. But I've got serial killer downstairs, and typically when I grab my morning coffee, I'm grabbing that. It's in one of my mom's keys, and I'll take that out front and sit down and get some cereal and coffee in me.
Yeah, I'll normally easy all day, but that serial killer in the morning with a cup of coffee.
Oh yeah,
nothing like it. Nothing.
Glad you love it, Joe.
Phenomenal.
So yeah, that's how we're gonna do the giveaway. It'll be up in the group, and that was kind of our big thing for the night, and I think pretty awesome to have both you guys down to get down. That's super cool, and we super appreciate it.
I mean, if you guys start getting more love, I'm not saying this will be the last time, which I doubt it will be, but I think people should keep an eye on WarNation going forward.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
And I've got 2 sets of aliens for you. One is a 2.7, and then I did one. Those are 3 millimeter, and then the other set I got you right now is 3.5 millimeter 8 wraps. So that should be a little bit higher, like in the 0.3, 0.35 range for you.
Yeah, a little more for my PWM. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna get you a couple sets, hopefully out tomorrow, if not Monday. But I thought while we were doing the live, I'd be making your coils.
No. There's no rush. I mean, you do it when you can do. I mean, you got your life going on. You got the thing with your daughter.
But does anyone of our 12 members still in the chat that's out and about have any questions for the mixologist and the build master while they're here? I know we're coming up on 2 hours. Tex has Thanksgiving tomorrow. You know, those Espanol people do Thanksgiving on Saturday. I know, it's crazy.
No, the big thing we had to move it was because my mom's not in town yet. So we're kind of waiting on her. She's in South Texas in Mercedes, so she's about 9 hours away. So we're waiting on her to get up here, and she should be here hopefully Saturday, and then that's when we're going to have our dinner.
Texas and Florida are probably the worst two states to drive through. You can spend a whole day driving in a straight line and still be in the same state.
Dude, yeah, it'll, like, if I drove to Steve, it'd take me like 8.5 hours.
That's
8
crazy.
hours, something like that.
Hey, just meet at a Buc-ee's. Get some beaver nuggets.
I don't think they have any out there, man.
Yeah,
What?
actually, it might
I've
be
never even heard of that.
Buc-ee's?
You've never heard of
Are you kidding me?
Buc-ee's?
You're a Texan.
Oh,
You know what
Bucky is the
Buc-ee's
gas station with the
Yeah.
beaver. Yeah. Okay.
You might go back to New Jersey, Alex.
So ask him where to get a big ass 76-ounce steak. He'll tell you.
Yeah. So Ryan, Mr. Garcia is the staggered stable fuse Clapton guy, and then both of us can do SFCs, but SSFCs is Tex for a 38 millimeter tank. So you'd probably get like some 5 millimeters. Are you getting one of the Voltros or a Def tank? What are you getting into with that, Ryan?
That's a 38 millimeter. It sounds like that Voltro.
Yeah, I think that's a new one that Mark is bringing out.
I'm excited for the 25 and the 38. Those are going to be awesome.
Yeah, I do want to get my hands on that 25 because that looks like that can take a nice little single coil.
That sounds good.
Something fancy.
That's up
too.
my alley. That's up my alley
Yeah.
for sure.
I think he had put a 4 or 5 millimeter in the 25 millimeter and said it was awesome.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw it was like 3.5. Is what he put in there.
Someone
Like
had
there's
something
still
big in
warm
there.
room.
Yeah. So yeah, Ryan, Alex can definitely do the staple staggered fuse Claptons. I can do SFCs. What's up, Stinky Girl? Well, why are you up?
I got
Oh,
no
fuck yeah,
clue.
Nick. Hell yeah. That's one I have been dreaming about, the TM24 Pro.
Oh, Ideal.
I'm going to go get that little girl back in bed. Thanks, everyone, for coming out. Catch you guys later.
All right.
Later,
See ya.
All right.
That is wrong.